Being a Tanzanian living in Australia is not for the weak. Hi, my name is Alice and I am a Tanzanian living in Australia. I moved here in 2022 when I started pursuing my university studies, and currently I'm done. I've started working, so I think I have some sort of knowledge on culture shocks that I've had since I came here. And I also post other videos such as travel vlogs, my life in Australia in general, and some kind of life advice. So if you love this type of content, please don't forget to comment and subscribe down below. And you know what, let's just get started. The first thing I'm gonna talk about, actually before I get into that, I posted part 1 on the culture shocks that I faced, and it is also linked in my description. So I do have my points, so if you see me looking down, just know that I have written my points down. So the first thing is lifestyle in public places. So one thing that shocked me a lot since I moved here is the parks. Guys, every suburb has a park. These parks normally are very clean. You wouldn't find unnecessary litter, which to me was very amazing, because back home, maybe I shouldn't say too much, but the parks are so clean. They also have barbecue areas, they have public gym equipment, they have dog waste, bags provided, and maybe I shouldn't talk too much. Let me show you, maybe you'll understand. Now come on, let's go. Have a barbecue area that I can turn on and use. Australians love their walk and they love cycling, so there are paths everywhere you go. Literally everywhere. Another thing I would like to talk about is the general culture and independence in Australia. When I lived in Tanzania, I never thought that there are some things that I would come and do by myself. Number 1, pumping gas. You pump your own gas. Come with me, let me show you. You self-check out your own groceries. There are some people who can check out their groceries for you, but mainly 99.99999% you check out your own groceries, which is pretty amazing to me, the level of trust that they put to people. And another thing that I would say is, I don't know if I should say weird, but obviously it was a shock, is that how, let's say you're going to the airport and you need someone to carry your bags for you, to put them in the car, they would take you to, I don't know, those services. It's not here. You have to do everything yourself. If you call an Uber, you take your bags, you put them in the car, you reach in the airport, he opens the boot for you, and then you take your bags out and you continue with your business. No one is doing that for you, unless you meet someone who's really nice, which is very rare. But I don't really blame anyone. At first I used to say they're rude, but I just got used to it. And another thing is also in hotels. If you go check in into a hotel, I didn't experience this. I haven't slept in a hotel here. I just slept once when I came in, but my father has come here multiple times, so he would come in and then tired from a very long flight, mind you, coming to Australia 10, 11, 12 hours. So you arrive here, you put your bags in the cab, right, and then you come all the way to the hotel. When you reach into the hotel, they don't carry the bags for you. I don't remember what that thing is called, but the one that you put, if you have multiple bags, so you put your bags in there, you take it to your room, and then you bring it back down. And maybe you'd say, oh, maybe it's just maybe in a 1-star hotel, 2-star. I'm talking 5-star hotel. You do everything yourself. So I think, I don't know, maybe it's because of the extra work. I think one thing that I realize is that people here value their labor a lot, and I think that's why people don't be doing extra work. If you're not assigned for that specific task, they don't do it. In short, if you want help with everything, it's available. Like if you want a maid, if you want a cleaner, but just know things are very expensive. So most of the time what happens, people just end up doing everything themselves because it's much that way. So another thing I would want to talk about is that, so in the same group of doing yourself culture or culture in general, is that people here are very organized. Even if you want to go to the hospital, you have to book an appointment. You can't walk in unless you have an emergency. You have to book an appointment with a general practitioner and then get that appointment, and then you go. So that was really a culture shock to me, because I didn't realize this until one time when I was really sick and I needed to go to hospital. So I went to the hospital and they were like, have you gone to a general practitioner? And I'm like, general practitioner? I'm sick. And they're like, you just have to go to a general practitioner and then talk to them, and then they'll tell you maybe what medicines you have to take, or if you have to come to pathology and whatever. And I was like, but I'm sick. And they were like, is it an emergency? And I'm like, no, but I'm sick. I am sick. And they're like, you have to go. So I was like, fine, who is this general practitioner? And then at the time I was still in school, so I booked a general practitioner, but then there was no available appointment until the next day. So I think you get what I mean. It's not easy. So everything is very structured, life is very organized. They also love their coffee. They love coffee so much, and that's why, so I did read this somewhere, so this is allegedly, I'm not sure, but they spoke about how like Starbucks didn't do really well when it first came to Australia, because the Australians already had their own coffee shops and they already had their own coffee that they really liked, and they didn't want to switch from that to Starbucks, allegedly. I'm not sure. Do your own research. Something else that I want to talk about actually is transport culture, which is it's a big category. Transport, obviously, I think I spoke about this in my part 1, so if you haven't seen that, just go check my part 1. Obviously I spoke about free buses and paid buses. So the free buses in the city and some parts of the suburbs, for example where I was living before for uni, there was a free bus, which is very great. And then the paid buses, nowadays this system just came in Perth where you can just Apple Pay, then that's it, which is baffling to me. Anyway, so I'll leave that aside. In terms of private transport, so say driving a car, so the first thing that shocked me so much is that I remember when I was first coming to Australia, people here were telling me, make sure you come with your license, and I was like, what is my license for? But then come to find out that they allow you to drive with your foreign license. So you can drive with your foreign license, and then you can later on just switch it back to an Australian license. So you need to take a test, you need to pass the test, and the Australian driving test, guys, I've never heard people who have done the test and got through in the first try. You have to do multiple tries to get through it. So I have been dragging mine, so as for recent, I'm still using my own Tanzanian license, but it's okay. Another thing is that, let's say if you come to Australia or you are an Australian and you don't have a license, so the process of getting a license is pretty complicated. So you start with L plates, I think for a year or two, I'm not sure, and then you go to P plates. So all these stages have rules. There are certain rules that maybe if you're in L plate, you have to drive with someone, then all the time that you're driving. Then with P plates, I think there's some things that you can't do. I think you can't use your phone for maps. There are many rules, and to me, I'm so glad I got mine back home, because, well, I didn't go to driving school, me personally, but I know there are a bunch of people who didn't and they still have their license. So that was very shocking to me. And another thing is that how back home, if you're in driving school or you're a learner, you're trying to learn, you do not necessarily have to go through speed limit. The driver will tell you drive slowly, but here if the speed limit is 100, you have to go 100. Even if you're learning, you have to go 100. If you don't go 100, you have failed automatically. They don't even think twice. And the fines and demerits here, How back home you can run away from fines, right? You can say, you know what I'm talking about. But here you can't run away from fines. The fine will find you. In fact, it will find you. You don't even have to go to the police station to find you. They know your life. Let's say if what happens is that, let's say you run a red light, so there'll be a camera that takes a picture of your license plate, and then after a few days, I think a week, they send you your fine. And there's a time that's called double demerits. Double demerits, double fine. During holiday season, there's double fines, double demerits. So if the fine was 150, now you have to pay 300, and then for if it was 3 points, they take 6 points. And for those points to come back, I think it's after a year or two, I'm not sure, something like that. But that applies to an Australian license. But obviously, if you have a foreign license, you still pay the fine. Guys, I once paid $300, never again. This applies to speed limit as well. It applies to speed limits, it applies to running a red light, and it also applies to using your phone. Guys, in Australia, I've seen videos in America where people just use their phones. However, they'll be recording themselves using their phones. You can't do that here. You can't. I don't even know how to explain it to you. You can't. They're so serious with using your phone and drunk driving. You even go to court for drunk driving. Literally, you go to court. They're so serious about it, and I understand, but I was so shocked. People are so serious about it.
Something that's pretty good as well is the fact that there's something called 10 cents. So in every bottle, I'll just show you. For example, I have this bottle of water here. It's written 10 cents somewhere right there, and well, that means for every bottle you collect that has that symbol, you can go and claim back the 10 cents. So obviously, me and my friend have been collecting the bottles. You don't get too much money when you collect, because that means 100 bottles is $10. So I'm not gonna let that money go to waste. So we collect the bottles and we take them there. So let me also show you.
Now, the cost of living in Australia is, yeah, it's that bad. So I think, because when I came in at first, right, I remember the rent for some houses outside, it was around 150. You could get a decent place for 150 a week, right? But currently, I think the lowest you can get is $300 for a room. And if you want a decent room, you have to be willing to pay around $350 plus a week for a room. So I think that summarizes the cost of living in Australia, to be honest. Let me give you context, right? So for example, say you earn $2,000 a month and you drive, correct? And you have to, let's say you work in the city and you want to go with your car in the city every single day and park your car in the city, correct? Yeah. So there's a parking place called Wilson, and parking at Wilson is $20 a day. So let me give you context. If you're working 9 to 5, $20 times 5 is 100. Times 4 for the month is $400. So from your $2,000, $400 is just going for parking, for you leaving your house to go where you're supposed to work. $400. I have been able to adjust, honestly, living in Australia. It's a very beautiful country and people are very organized. Everything is so calm, everything is so nice. The people here in general are very nice. They're just very into themselves. I was not able to make any kind of Australian friends. So I love you guys so much. I hope you love this video, and if you do, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.